Well, if you're still with us, you've made it to the end.
Made it to the end.
This is the final track on the album. It's the final video of us talking about the tracks on the album. This is also the track that shares its namesake with the album, Be Kind, which you own and I hope enjoy, probably.
Yes, if you don't own it, you probably should buy it.
There are still copies available, probably.
Probably.
This is, I don't know what this is. This is a big song in a sense. Like, the lyric in this song, Be Kinder to Yourself, was inspired to me by something you said to me. I was struggling. I wasn't having a great time whenever this song was written. And I think I would take that out on myself more than anyone else usually. And you would always just sort of say, you should be kinder to yourself and not beat yourself up so much about every single thing that can go wrong and every negative thing you might feel. I think it was when I was kind of trying to understand how to have a sort of healthy dialogue with myself and my own mental health. And I don't know, that little lyric became a nice sort of a nice rallying thing for me nearly. It always just kind of comforted me. So the whole song in terms of lyrics is kind of about me sort of talking to myself, sort of the things I would like to hear whenever I don't feel so great. It's a song kind of about comfort and care. A lot of that's sort of the overarching theme of the record. It's about that kind of emotion. So you just want to provide some sort of care and comfort to people when they're not in the best sort of place. This song was kind of about that, and I love that it became something that was quite vulnerable. And I hated the song for ages, even
That's
though
right. I had to really fight to get this on the album. It was
I really liked the sentiment of it, but it was weird because playing it live, it always was like, it just became that, people in bands will understand this, where you have a song in your set that you're like, oh, that's a good set ender, or another song that's a good opener, and that kind of thing. But I hated it. I just thought it was really it's a bit too honest, nearly, and it's a weird thing to say because you're in the business of sort of selling honesty and emotion and feeling and trying to connect with other people and stuff. But I really shied away from it. I was just a bit like, oh, it's too much for me. I can't really deal with saying this sort of stuff in public. Like, as much as that I always wanted Beauty Sleep in particular to be a project that was very honest and was designed to, if someone else was feeling the same way or took any sort of comfort in one of our songs, that would be like the best thing. Like, that in itself would be the whole reason to do the band and be speaking about it and making the record. That would justify it all for me in a sense. Like, it had a reason, it helped someone, it made someone feel better. That's amazing if that's happened. But I don't know, over some time, I suppose, probably what I was talking about, we wanted the album to have a certain arc, is that what you say? Or a certain journey, or some sort of story. It just so obviously became the song that really concluded the journey. I really like it. I really like it now, and what's your read on that?
Well, I was going to say, you can tell from your anxious demeanor that it is really honest. Maybe the most exciting thing for me to see, whereas because we were apart the week that you came up with the riff and the concept of it, and when I left you, you were really, really struggling, and I had said this thing to you, and I was worried about you and thinking about you, just being concerned for when someone you're really close to goes through those emotions, it's hard, you want to be there for them, you're not sure how. And then we met up again and you're like, oh, I started this song, and it was just you shouting those words basically over a riff, and I was like, that is the most exciting and empowering thing. And I think because I had that perspective on it, I've just always loved it, because it was like you're talking to yourself, and I just find that so fucking cool. And when we play it live, it's my favorite thing in the world to just be literally shouting at people in the front row, be kind to yourself, aggressively shouting the most positive message in the world. I think just because you had naturally shy away from it, I've always been fighting for it, and I think it's really important to be that honest, and to the way that that's presented. That could have been a really slow, delicate song about reflecting on how you're really negative to yourself, but it's just this big joyous build up of like this riff that just keeps going and these layers that just keep building and these like joyous riffs, and it's just shouting this really positive message and exploring this really positive theme. And I just think that summed it up for me from the start and the end. At every point, that's always what we've been trying to do. You know, we've always been trying to take these lessons that you learn from being really fucking sad or really fucking anxious or going through something hard and present it in a way that will just make you feel on top of the world. And that song was just like, that's the pinnacle of it for me, of that vibe, that Beauty Sleep vibe. And
yeah,
I
definitely
think that's why,
crystallizes sort of in terms of the live show and stuff like that, is the moment at the end of that song where like it just is this huge celebration. You know, it turns anything that could have been negative or you know, not or written from maybe a point of vulnerability and the self to be, you know, we're all experiencing this now because we're all here, and it's a celebration, and you know, there's confetti cans blowing up and there's fire and fireworks and everyone's hugging and then also crying, and you know, it's very much a freeing sort of place to be, is what I would like to believe. And I'm in a giant orb getting passed around the audience and stuff like that.
Come see us live. No, well, that's it. It's the live show and it's the album namesake, and it's like, it is the overarching umbrella of all the things that we try and do in every song in different ways. And it was so much fun to record. I've just always felt really strongly about the message of it and the way it's presented, and it's just like 100 tracks of synths doing the same fucking thing, which is extravagant and ridiculous, but it's beautiful. And a big guitar riff at the end. Yeah, that's basically it. But it's really, really gorgeous. And I hope this song just makes you feel like you can do whatever the fuck you want, and that you can do that. Like, you don't need anyone else to do that. You can do that. Be kind to yourself. You can take on the world. You are your own power. And yeah, that's the album. That's the song.